I don't think it's crazy for me to say that the Bradley Beal experiment in Phoenix has been something that Phoenix would just like to forget. And I mean, how could you blame them? They made a trade that they thought was going to save their franchise and possibly lead to a finals appearance, when now, months later, this team is not even going to make the playoffs or the play-in. 29 out of the 30 teams in the NBA are at least in the playoffs, the play-in, or the draft lottery. So you might be asking, well, what is the one team that is outside of that? Well, that of course would be the Phoenix Suns, a team that has zero hope going for them. Now, you might be looking at the channel, you might have seen that I've already talked about this team in my past 2 videos. Why do I keep bringing it up? Well, today I don't want to necessarily just talk about the Phoenix Suns. I want to talk about Bradley Beal, because I'm not blaming Bradley Beal for this team being god awful. I'm not saying that, but I do think it is Bradley Beal's fault for the whole mess that Phoenix is in. I think he is just as much to blame as guys like Matt Ishbia and James Jones. We're going to talk about that later on in the video. Now, really quick, I want to address something that I saw today from Gambo. According to Gambo, this man said that there is a 0% chance that Bradley Beal returns to the Phoenix Suns next year. Now, most Suns fans at first glance might say, oh my god, that's amazing, no more Bradley Beal, the team is saved. Until you actually think about what this means. We saw during the trade deadline that not many teams wanted to trade for Bradley Beal, and the ones that wanted to, or were just willing to take him on to get rid of someone else, they would have to get that trade approved by Bradley Beal because of his no trade clause. I mean, I truly believe, and I'm always going to stand on the fact that I think Bradley Beal was the reason that Jimmy Butler did not go to the Phoenix Suns. So I am saying this to say, if a team wants to trade for Bradley Beal, they have to get that shit approved by Mr. Beal himself. But we're at the point now where Phoenix doesn't even care if they get a trade, because there's another option that Phoenix is willing to do that I don't think I've ever seen before. Like I said, according to Gambo, if Phoenix is not able to find a trade, then they're going to buy out Bradley Beal's contract. Mind you, a guy who is on a max contract and has a lot of years remaining, they're going to buy him out of his deal. I don't think I've ever seen this happen before. This man is so bad, they just don't want him around anymore. Which, I mean, when you see shit like this and this, like, how could you blame Phoenix? Because it's become very apparent that Bradley Beal is weighing this team down more than actually helping them. You know, it's funny because if this was a situation where everyone was understanding of what's going on and everyone's just like, guys, we suck as a team, then I don't think I'd be that mad. But it seems like this man Bradley Beal is completely oblivious to what's going on. I want you guys to look at this interview that Beal did after a game versus, I believe, the Golden State Warriors.
So from point of personal pride, this is embarrassing.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Nobody likes to lose, period, but losing my 30 and 40, that's... We might as well not showed up.
I beg your fucking pardon? We, motherfucker, is you speaking French? Who's we? Listen here, you brittle bone son of a bitch. You had 7 points. What you mean we shouldn't have shown up? You didn't show up. You know, you do this interview and oh, you're all sad and stuff, and man, you don't know what's going on. How could we lose? Motherfucker, you are a part of the reason. You are at this point just a liability for the team, and I just don't understand it. I don't understand it, y'all. I really don't. And I think I showed this clip earlier where he was smiling after Stephen Curry had this shot that he made. Like, bro, what you smiling for? Now, here's the thing. If I was to break down the rest of the season, it would be pretty pointless. There is no reason for me to talk about the 2024-2025 season, at least from Phoenix's perspective. So I kind of want to talk about the future because I think this is where things get very interesting. I've seen a ton of rumors about Kevin Durant's going to get traded and Beal's going to get traded and Booker's going to get traded and that the whole team is just basically going to get destroyed. Look, I look at Phoenix, I look at every single one of their games, and this is what I think. Devin Booker is someone that needs to be untouchable, and I just don't think you trade him. I think the only way they trade him is if Booker genuinely asks to be traded, but I don't see a situation where Booker does that. This team has to be in such a bad situation, a place of no return, a point where it is just destroying Booker to be here. And as bad as Phoenix is right now, I just don't think that's the situation. I do, however, think that Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal are on the trade block. Beal, I've already discussed that, so I don't really have to get into it as much, even though I kind of will later on. But Kevin Durant, that is something that obviously needs to be talked about. I've seen some people saying that there's a chance that KD might stay, but I just don't think so. While I don't think it's bad enough for Booker to want to leave, I do think Kevin Durant's not going to want to stay. The fact of the matter is, this man does not have much time left in his career. He has probably less than 4 years, and that's me being generous. So I do think he wants to compete for a title at least one more time. Now, I'm not going to act like Kevin Durant had nothing to do with Phoenix not being a good team. But at the end of the day, it is Kevin Durant, so he does have some kind of trade value. Now, how good that trade value is, I'm not entirely sure. I think Phoenix, from their perspective, all they need is like maybe an all-star and some draft picks. I think you need some draft capital, you need some younger guys on your team, and you need a player that is going to somewhat replace Kevin Durant. Obviously, you're not going to get a top 5, top 10 player in the NBA. I highly fucking doubt it. But what I do think is going to happen is you might be able to get like 3 or 4 first-round picks, and then maybe a guy who's been an all-star before, or the guy who's on the cusp of being an all-star. But at least we can get some trade value for Kevin Durant. On the other hand, with Bradley Beal, that's a whole other conversation in itself. As far as the contract goes, I don't know a single team that's going to want to take that on. From a skill perspective, this man is the worst he's ever been in his career. And when you look at Bradley Beal and the mentality he brings, no disrespect when I say this, he's a loser. This man, Bradley Beal, and I think I saw a comment on a Six-Man video. Shout out to my boy Six-Man. But someone commented on one of his videos and they said something to the extent of when he got traded from Washington, he brought that Washington mentality to Phoenix. And honestly, I could not agree more. It seems like this team is so content with being just okay. I mean, to be honest, I think they're worse than okay, but you get what I'm trying to say. It seems like they're not even pissed off about the fact that they're not even going to make the play-in or the playoffs. This is the same team that Devin Booker said, I just don't know how they're going to guard us. Well, months later, we can see that it was pretty fucking easy to guard you guys. And it's not like Phoenix even has that bad of an offense. It's their defense. And again, it's just their mentality. It's the way this team is. Look, on paper, I don't think the team is that bad. I'm just going to be honest. Aside from Bradley Beal, I do think this is supposed to be a playoff team. But again, when you look at the mentality, when you look at the way that this team is just not connected, it's no wonder this team missed the playoffs entirely. And I think it's also just very unfortunate because this team does not have a future. If this was just a bad year and okay, they can look forward to the draft and, you know, maybe some free agents, then I wouldn't be mad. But the issue is that not only did Phoenix have a bad year this season, but their future is just as bad, if not worse. They don't have a draft pick. They don't have that much money to be able to work with. So they're kind of just stuck with being this shitty team. If this Phoenix team did not work, which it clearly hasn't, then they don't have a bright future, and there are moves that are going to be made during the offseason that are going to completely shift this team. And that could be in a good way or a bad way. You know, I keep seeing this thing that says 36 unbothered, 36 unbothered. Motherfucker, 69 bothered. I am bothered by this team. Everything they have done, the moves they've made, the way they're playing, it bothers the hell out of me. And I think every single Suns fan feels the exact same way. I am very curious to see the direction they go in, but I just don't know what they're going to do. Like, I would like to tell you they have a bright future, but they absolutely do not. But ladies and gentlemen, the playoffs are starting in less than a week, and yeah, that's something. Sucks that Phoenix is not going to be a part of it, but at least I'm going to do more in the playoffs than Phoenix did.